Good evening, everyone. From Nashville, I'm Charles Brown, Portfolio Manager with CB3 Financial. We are glad you're with us for CB3 Live, the Monday Market Mashup. From COVID to U.S. politics to the world economic scene to market craziness to clarity. This is CB3 Live. As you well know, it's the Monday Market Mashup. Those of you that are new, we welcome you, and we would hope that you would go to the YouTube page. You may be there now watching the program, and just click the subscribe button and also click the little button that has a bell on it. That way you'll get notified whenever we go live or whenever we have a new upload, which is what we do on Monday nights. We're actually live on Thursday nights. Don't miss this coming Thursday night. It's our 1-year anniversary show. We have special guests. It's going to be a great evening, an educational evening as well, especially with what's going on in the markets right now in the middle of a pullback in the NASDAQ, which we'll address later on tonight's program. We have some clarity in COVID world, and that's a good thing. And of course, as I just said, the market's correcting. Had 2 phone calls today from people that just wanted to know what's going on. Why do you think this is happening? I'm going to explain that right here and now, and then I'll cover it in greater depth on Thursday night. In Corona America, we are seeing a continuing drop in the number of cases, and we're basically back to October levels. So as I predicted in mid-January, this would be the peak of the pandemic, and it has essentially plummeted since then. Doesn't mean it's not dangerous. Think of it as a Category 5 hurricane that's gone inland. It can't do as much damage there as it did when it was out at the ocean, but still dangerous. Nonetheless, it is going on the right trajectory. U.S. hospitalizations down 70% from January. That's just a month and a half ago. Great news. Lowest level since October 20th, which I just mentioned. Sunday's total down 70% since January 6th. So all these numbers moving in the right direction. Last Thursday night, I announced that I'm going to get the vaccination. The first available date here in Nashville was April 1st. And since I didn't want to get it on April Fool's Day, I'm getting my first dose on April 2nd, just so you know. The CDC basically says that vaccinated people can visit each other mask-free. This just came out today, Monday the 8th, okay? You can visit indoor without masks, but still must wear them in public and avoid large gatherings. So it sounds to me like you can have, 6 to 8 to maybe 10 people over at your house, no masks, and enjoy, TV or a sports event or something. Definitely reduced risk at getting COVID-19 now, especially if everyone in there is vaccinated. I mean, that would make a big improvement. In the U.S. economy, the Russell's still leading for the year, but the NASDAQ, as of today, turned negative. This is a frustration, and I understand, guys, but it's not unusual, and we'll get to that in just another couple slides. The S&P and the Dow picking up the rear, but definitely the small cap space. As I have said so many times, we need all asset classes to do well if we want this secular bull market to keep going, keep building momentum, and last for years and years and years. And that's what we want, of course. I'd like to see this go to 2030, and I do think that's a possibility. But we need all asset classes performing to do that. So for the first time since 1993, do the math on that, 27, 28 years, depending on how you look at it, the Dow is at a record high today, and yet the NASDAQ has fallen more than 10%. So it is officially in correction territory. Now that's unusual. Why? Because the NASDAQ has been a leader for years. If you look at this chart, someone said to me, this just feels terrible. We're way pulling back, and what are we going to do? The sky is falling. They didn't say the sky is falling, but my response to them is what I'm showing you on the screen right here. If you look back to February to March, that's 219 to 323, and I actually referenced this to one of the clients today. We had a 33% pullback, 33%. We're at 11 right now. This says 10.6. It's a little more than that. It's about 11.5. Okay, so that's a little more than 1/3 as bad as it was in a 5-week period. Okay, and there's no real motivation for this other than a rotation from growth to value. Do I think that this is a permanent rotation? I do not. If I did, I would be moving more into value stocks. I believe this is a normal and necessary correction adjustment, okay? The next worst time from September 2nd to 23rd last year, we had an 11.8% pullback. That's about where we are right now. And so I think this is, again, at least for now, a garden variety correction, and I'm not concerned about it. Look at the highlighted months here. In traders' term, we call it HMUZ. Those are the labels for the months for March, June, September, and December. These tend to be weaker performing months, especially for technology. XLK, you can see I have it highlighted at the top. So technology tending to underperform in the third month of every quarter, and that's what we're in right now. It happened last year. It's happening this year. So seasonally, we're just doing what normally happens. And that's one of the reasons why I do this studying, so you guys don't have to be concerned about this. This is not an out-of-the-norm behavior from the technology sector, okay? If you look at the long-term S&P chart, see the little bit of yellow highlighted there? That's where we are on a weekly chart going all the way back to 2016, so about 5 years, all right? Not quite 5. It's just barely a correction, guys, but it happens, and it happens. Look at the chart. You'll see it all throughout there. I gave this data last Thursday night. About every 7 to 8 months, this happens, okay? All right, so we are where we need to be. We want to see the NASDAQ lead, but it doesn't always work that way. The NASDAQ stocks have led by tremendous amounts for years. So it could well be that the Dow and indeed the Russell, the 2000, the small cap stocks are just catching up. So taking a back seat in the short term, not a huge problem. It probably doesn't feel that good right now based on the emails and calls that I'm getting. But remember, recency bias. Recency bias means that whatever's happening right now is making me feel like this is the way the market's always going to be. And that's just not the case, okay? We want the market to move higher in all asset classes with all asset classes participating. Okay, in economic indicators, we got good news last Friday. That was after my Thursday night show. The survey was predicting 6.3 unemployment. It dropped to 6.2. That's a positive. The Fed unemployment, the overall situation, increase in payrolls, and the best pace for February. Normally not a great month because of seasonal layoffs for Christmas. The best pace for Feb in 20 years. Now, this is why I say I'm just not concerned about a recession or even inflation, not necessarily correlated indicators there. But when you see the amount of good data out there, it really trumps any of this short-term market movement to the downside. So I'm feeling just fine about where things are. I'll be glad when the NASDAQ recovers, just like you will. Okay. Change in payrolls. Basically, there's been a significant recovery all across the spectrum, with the exception of nursing and residential facilities. Not sure about that, other than I would think that because the pandemic hasn't gotten any worse, the additional hiring has probably fallen off in that regard. But the health trends for hiring are basically recovering, and you see that V shape there in ambulatory health and hospitals. That's what I've been talking about across so many indicators, this V-shaped recovery. You guys indicated in 2 weeks ago, Thursday, that you want to hear about crypto every time I go to air, and so here you go. Mark Cuban in the news, basically saying gold is hyped as much as crypto, but why do we need gold jewelry? I mean, it's okay, but it can make you a ring. But BTC and ETH, now that's Bitcoin and Ether. Those are the biggest two crypto coins that are traded in volume, okay, and they have the largest market cap as well. They can make you a banker, allowing friction-free exchange of value, and are extensible, into unlimited range of biz and personal applications. They are a medium of exchange, which gold is not. And so Cuban has joined the bandwagon. You've been hearing this from me over the last 3 months or so about how many corporations and pretty big name people are getting behind the Bitcoin wagon. Just looking here at the short-term charts, Bitcoin up, Ether up, Tether. I haven't gone into too much detail about these other coins. Mainly I focus on Bitcoin and Ether. But I monitor and actually own 16 coins, and we'll get into this in the second quarter as we turn the corner on our second season in CB3 Live. So stay with us for that, okay? In politics, you guys know the story. The House passed it by just, 6 votes. The Senate passed the stimulus check relief bill by 1 vote. 1 vote. And now it's back in the House, but I'm expecting by the time I go live on Thursday, the House will have approved it, and then certainly Joe Biden will sign it. So that's the latest there, and it's $1.9 trillion. I hope some of it actually goes to people that need COVID relief, because there is a ton of pork in there, as I indicated in last week's show. So this week's words of wisdom: nothing is so permanent as a temporary government program. And yes, I guess you could say that is a little negative on my part, but that's been my experience. If something comes along and the government says, this is just temporary, we're just going to do this until we get out of this jam, well, expect that it could be there for quite some time, okay? Reminding you, my special guest, Lydia Thibodeau, who is a nanny placement specialist. Really interesting segment. She's having problems not getting clients, but finding enough nannies to satisfy the need. We saw this with the real estate segment back with Susan Thetford, encouraging you guys to go back and watch that episode if you missed that. And also, Tom from Inova Digital will be my special guest. He is the one that got us going live on March 12th. This Thursday is March 11th, so it's the 1-year anniversary. It's going to be great. We're looking forward to it. You see, we got a fancy little logo down there, the 1-year anniversary. So tell your friends, tell your family, and join us for the 1-year anniversary this Thursday. Reminding you again, tell your friends, go out there, subscribe to us, click the bell, get updates. Follow us on Twitter. You can see us on Facebook, and we have a LinkedIn audience that's growing too. So we appreciate you guys being part of CB3 Live and the Monday Market Mashup. I am Charles Brown, Portfolio Manager with CB3 Financial, where we don't just manage your assets, we become one of them. And we're really glad that you're part of the audience that's watching these programs. From COVID to U.S. politics to the world economy, to clarity. This is CB3 Live and the Monday Market Mashup. We'll see you Thursday night.